Okay, hello, welcome to this video. We got to talk about the shenanigans that happened on the Long Island Railroad today. Don't have a whole lot of video about what happened as far as what happened, but it was a problem on the railroad today on one particular train, and the way the railroad handled it was absolutely appalling. So while I'm waiting here in Mineola for the 3:30, because I left a little earlier instead of getting the 4:20, I decided to get the 3:30 train. Because that after all, the train, if you miss the 3:30 train and you need to get to Hicksville, you got to wait until 4:20. It's a 50-minute gap in service. 4:20, actually 51-minute gap in service, because they canceled the 405, as you know. So I see this nice train. Yeah, this is nice. Looks like they repainted that locomotive right there, right? So I'm waiting there and get to see some other stuff too while waiting. Let's take a look. Yep, get to see that. One of the work trains come through. Another beautiful classic locomotive right there. So at least the point of at least there was some advantage to the delay. I got to see some equipment. But now let's talk about exactly what happened here. So let's put this on the screen right here. Okay, so here you go. Right here it says, and they never posted this on Twitter. They never posted this on Twitter. So the train I was taking, the 248 train from Penn due in Huntington, departed Jamaica 10 minutes late due to a person in need of medical assistance. So they said 10 minutes late. It was way more than that, and they lied once again. And the other thing is, when I got there to Mineola, I actually saw this. There was an ambulance and two police cars pulling away, so maybe they thought the train was going to bring the person to NYU Langone and Long Island. I'm used to calling it Winthrop, right? But I don't know what happened. Whatever, the train, the police cars and the ambulance drove away. So perhaps they were getting ready to treat this patient in Mineola, but they decided instead to take them off the train at Jamaica. Whatever the case is, it was an emergency, and obviously it had to be dealt with. That's not the issue I have. The issue I have is how the railroad managed to handle this. So what wound up happening was, first of all, you'll notice if you go to the railroad's Twitter here, that they never mentioned this on their Twitter. They never mentioned this on their Twitter. All right? You don't see anything here on their Twitter about it. Though they did have a train with equipment trouble on the Montauk branch that caused some delays. They never mentioned this on their Twitter, all right? But the delay was way more than 10 minutes because of what the railroad wound up doing. So what the railroad wound up doing is delay my train further for no freaking reason at all other than just to screw us. All right, and I'll explain to you exactly what happened, and you'll see also in this video what happened so you understand, because these are just two very short video clips that I have for you. So I'm waiting for the train here that leaves you right here. You see at 3:30, all right, Mineola, all right? Now, fortunately for me, I'm just traveling as far as Hicksville. But a lot of people wind up taking this train, the 3:30 train, and connecting up with train service to Ronkonkoma at Hicksville, because the Ronkonkoma trains, both of them, don't stop at Mineola. Both the 307 and the 314 do not stop at Mineola. They do not stop at any local stops along the main line, all right? But what wound up happening was they let both of these trains go ahead of us. That's right. You heard it right. You heard me right. They let both of these trains go ahead of us. And I'm going to show you what I mean before we show you the clips. So this is what you're looking at right here. And this image right here, let me get that back on the screen for you, is a screenshot from my phone that I took off the train. This is 341 at Hicksville. So I was tracking it from the Hicksville stop. But you could see here, it wound up being held in two spots, all right? So it got wound up being held at, first of all, it's crawling out of Jamaica. Then it gets held around Queens Village to let that Ronkonkoma train that's supposed to be behind it go ahead. That's that first Ronkonkoma train, the 307 out of Penn. And then what winds up happening is we get to Mineola, and you'll see after we leave Mineola, we start crawling out of Mineola because they let the second Ronkonkoma train also pass. So this means that people who needed to connect up with eastbound service, and there are a lot of Chaminade students, a lot of people in Mineola, but also not just Mineola, Carl Place, Westbury, New Hyde Park, all got screwed and missed their train. And if they needed to get to Pine Lawn, well, I think they were out of luck, because I think that train, that the 356 train out of Hicksville, that's the last train that stops at Pine Lawn. So if you needed to get to Pine Lawn from any of those stops on that last train, you were left stranded and had to get ripped off by a taxi, Uber, or Lyft. So without further ado, let me show you the clips of the video, and then I'll come right back and explain to you how ridiculous what happened was today. And it's just another example of the fact that they just want people to be stranded. All right, we're getting screwed here. Look at what's going on. Hey, stop the train! Stop the train! You're supposed to accommodate people. Hey! Look at that. Unbelievable. Everybody who needed to connect up with that Ronkonkoma train just got screwed. Unbelievable. 3:30 train from Huntington is being delayed, and they just delayed it again for that train, and it didn't even stop here. See how we're treated here in Mineola? Do you see we're treated like utter crap? Alright, I'm on the train. Everybody who needed to connect up with Ronkonkoma service at Mineola just got screwed. They just let 2 Ronkonkoma trains ahead of us. Unbelievable. Now they're going to have to wait for 40 minutes at Hicksville for the next Ronkonkoma. I know I'm not going to Ronkonkoma, but everybody who needed Ronkonkoma service just got screwed. Everybody. So you can imagine I was pretty upset about it, mainly because of all the people that got stranded. And there were a number of people on the train that were pretty angry. And not only that, when I got on the train, I had to deal with literally half the people on the train weren't wearing masks or not wearing them properly, not covering their nose. And of course, I politely asked somebody to cover their nose, and then he has an attitude with me, so I got to move to somewhere else. But the gist of it is we arrive at Hicksville 25 minutes late. That's right. A 10-minute delay turned into a 25-minute delay because the railroad just wanted to screw us. So I was pretty livid about it. Luckily, I didn't need to go points east, but, you know, I care about other people, and a lot of people got screwed. And a lot of them probably had to get ripped off. Some of them may have had to get places and couldn't afford to wait for the 4:39 train. And they had to get ripped off by a taxi, Uber, or Lyft. And of course, I did see these cute bunnies that, I don't know, they were playing in the grass when I know it's kind of off topic, but it was so nice to see that because I was so upset and angry after what I just saw. But, I mean, this is what you get with Pat I Don't Care Foy. This is what you get with him. And, you know, I've had it with this guy. I have had it with Pat Foy. All right? This guy is a piece of you-know-what. I'm not going to say it on here, but this guy is literally out to screw us time and time again. And what happened is all part of he wants people to be stranded. He's part of this whole thing. He's part of this whole plan so people get left stranded and have to get ripped off by taxis, Ubers, and Lyfts. And also part of this plan to make the main line less desirable, particularly our area, particularly Mineola, particularly Westbury, particularly Carl Place, particularly New Hyde Park. So our neighborhoods get destroyed because nobody wants to live here because the train service sucks. All right? Everybody's going to want to live on the South Shore where the train service and the train stations are taken care of because a certain demographic lives there, right? So, Pat, I don't care for you. You are a disgrace. All right, he thinks he's the king. He wants to keep these MTA. He loves the fact that the MTA board, I spoke about this yesterday. The MTA board meetings, it's just one meeting. He presides over it all. This guy has way, way too much power. But we know who put him there, and that's the governor. All right, we know it's the governor who put him there. All right, we know it's Andrew Cuomo, and there is his buddy Ed Mangano, convicted county executive, convicted felon, but yet still not serving any time because Andrew Cuomo seems to intimidate everybody. And this is look, I've spoken with people. This is real, this intimidation. It is real, all right? They're even going to the media now and intimidating the media not to do anything negative about the MTA, all right? This is what's going on, all right? Pat Foy, now, if we need to communicate with Phil Ang now, I've been told that you have to go through Pat Foy now to communicate with Phil Ang. Pat Foy is there to ruin the MTA. He's there to run the MTA into the ground and do exactly what he was deputy county executive under Edward Mangano. All right? And yet somehow the governor, nobody even connects the dots. But then again, the governor can molest women, and he can get away with it. It's like he's invincible or something. Everybody is afraid of this guy. Everybody's afraid of him. I am not afraid of you, Mr. Cuomo. I'm going to continue to speak out until you step down. The same goes for you, Pat Foy. I'm not afraid of you. We've got to stand up and be and not show fear. All right? We're not going to sit by and let this happen. Here's something else that happened too. MTA, they shared this on their Facebook. Once again, look at all these MTA police. There's like 5 or 6 of them at Babylon, all right? So I said something, well, what about the other stations? Well, here's something very interesting. So they wound up taking that post down and then putting a new post up. Let's get that new post up here. Happy Earth Day. And then they changed it, and then they showed they were at Woodside, Penn Station. They were saying they were at Hicksville, Babylon, and Ronkonkoma. So it's very interesting after they were called out that they did take that down. But very, very interesting indeed that they did that. Very, very interesting. Way, way, way too interesting, in my opinion. Way, way too interesting. All right. But this is the corruption we're up against, and I'm tired of it, man. They're trying to drive us out, and they're winning. They are winning. All right. And you follow the railroad, and they don't even mention what happened here. We were almost 30 minutes late, and we don't even get a tweet. But, the South Shore gets tweets because, again, those people are the only people that seem to count on this railroad anymore. It's all about them and all about these snobs that work on Wall Street in their preppy clothes and all that other stuff. And you know exactly who I'm talking about. All right, and look at this. Dave Morrison's Babylon branch, courtesy of what the hell is this? Of course, it shows you who they care about. I don't know. It shows like a camera icon. I don't see any picture here. I don't know, but that's all they care about. South Shore. That's all they care about. I'm sick of it, man. And once again, we go through a weekend with again, here you go. Weekend customers. For the next 2 weekends, you're stranded. No shuttle buses. And they somehow get away with this stuff. Time and time again. Just because. Just because. It's this governor. It's this governor, man. Meanwhile, look at what they've done to my town. Look at Mineola. This was last night in Mineola. Not a person in sight except a homeless person sleeping in front of the freaking Winthrop building there. See, look, sleeping right in front of the Winthrop building right there. That's another thing. Langone Hospital, I noticed since they've taken over Winthrop, it's gone downhill. It really has. And I think they're part of the reason why Mineola it's declining. I really do. I mean, I can't even get vaccine through this hospital. It's ridiculous. What kind of hospital has no vaccine? NYU Langone, apparently. So that's a whole nother rant, but I mean, this is what they're doing to us because this is part of the plan to drive us out because of these 2 people right here. 2 of the worst people in New York politics that you've ever seen in your life. All right, and they're laughing. They're laughing. They think they can get away with this because they have so far. Because everybody's scared of them. Well, I am not scared of you, Mr. Cuomo. I am not scared of you, Mr. Ed Mangano. You think you can leave us stranded? You think you can drive us out? You think you can actually get away with this stuff? But I am going to make sure that you do not get away with this. Because my future on Long Island is at risk because of you. You're trying to force us out. And we are not going to stand by and let that happen. My team at Passengers United, we're going to make sure of it. And there's going to be, we have some major announcements coming up soon, so you'll definitely want to stay tuned to that because this fight is going to be taken up quite a notch. All right? This governor needs to resign. Ed Mangano, you need to go to jail. And so do you, Mr. Cuomo. And then and Pat, I don't care, Foy. Especially you, Pat Foy. All 3 of you. Let's get all 3 of you on the screen here. All right? You disgust me. You disgust me. All right? That's the bottom line, Mr. Pat Foy. You disgust me. You think you can get away with this stuff. Well, we're not going to let you get away with it any longer. All 3 of you are going in the slammer. I'm going to see to it. That's it for this video.